Hey guys, welcome back. How are you? I hope you are good and doing well. So, in the last lecture, we created the form for managing the notification setting for the current user. Okay, now in this lecture, we will implement the create action so that whenever user select the options and submit this form, this will get saved into the database. Okay, but right now, if you can see that we have this only action which is just to showing the form, and it is showing the new form when current user dot notification setting is blank, and if it is present then it is showing the form to create the new one. Okay, so now we need to implement the create action to save the database, to save the notification setting into the database. Okay, but for now, for example, let's go to the Rails console. Okay, just to see that whether we have the current users notification setting in or not. So let's say user equal to user dot find 2000. Okay, so you can see that this is the current user that we signed in, and now user dot notification setting. So you can see that we are facing nil here. Okay, so that means no notification setting exists for this current user into the database right now. Okay, so we need to create one. Okay, and to create this, what we need to do, that first we will create a route. Okay, where we will add resource action. Okay, so first go to the routes.rb, and here what we need to do, that after this resources notification settings. Okay, and then we only need to create an update action. Okay, so only create an update. Okay, so it will not support now new, edit, show, destroy. It will only support the create and update action. Okay, now we need to implement the create action in our notification settings controller. Okay, so here what we need to do, def create. Okay, and then we let's create a private method as well, def setting params. Okay, and now, okay, now we need to do some changes into our form. Okay, so here you can see that this is the form, but we don't know that whether to submit this form, because in the controller what we manage in the manage notification setting action, that if current user notification setting is present, then we are showing the existing notification setting record for the current user. Otherwise we are initializing a empty record for the notification setting of the current user. Okay, so we need to handle the URL for submitting this form dynamically into our form. Okay, so that means if notification setting already exists for the current user in the database, then then this form must be sent to the update action. Otherwise, if it doesn't exist in the database, we need to submit it on the create action. Okay, so here we will understand that how we can handle the URLs and the method types dynamically. Okay, so here what we need to do, that first in the before the form we need to check whether the object is persisted or not. Okay, so if at the rate setting dot persisted. Okay, so we check persisted method to identify that whether that record or whether that object exists in the database or not. Okay, for example, let me go to the uh, let's say to the Rails console, and here we will see like this. Go to the Rails console, and here what we will do, that let's say setting equal to user dot build notification setting. Okay, so it has initialized an empty object. So you can see here that id is nil, on new job post is nil, and so on, all the attributes are nil. Okay, now let's check setting dot persisted. So it is returning false. Okay, that means we need to send our form to the create action, or if it is present, then we need to send our form to the update action. Okay, so what we will do here, that in the form, if this record is present, else, and end this if block. Okay, Now we need to define the URL. Okay, like setting URL equal to. So let's go to the terminal and find Rails routes grep settings. Okay, sorry. So here you can see notification setting index path. Okay, okay, let me show. Go to the routes. There is some issue. Okay, this need to be notification settings. Okay, so now let's reuse the path again. Settings. So you will see notification settings. So it is the post path. Okay, so just copy this, and what we need to do here in the form, we need to set it like notification settings path. Okay, otherwise it should be in the else part, it should be notification setting path, and then we need to pass the object. Here you can see notification setting path with id, so it is the @setting. Okay, and now we also need to manage the method type here. Setting method type equal to, let's say, post. Okay, and otherwise it would be patch. So copy this, patch. Okay, so here you can see that if setting is persisted into the database, then we are using setting URL as notification settings, which is the post path. Otherwise we are using setting method type, which is the sorry, the method type is post. And if it is not persisted, sorry, I just used the wrong path in the conditions. So now, if it is persisted, then use the patch method and the path for updating the notification setting. Otherwise, use the post method and path for creating the notification setting. Okay, and now here we need to use URL as setting URL and method as setting method type. Okay, so this is how we are handling one. We are handling both operations for creating and updating in a single form. Okay, so this way you can see that if the setting is persisted into the database, then it will go to the update path. Otherwise, it will go to the create path. Okay, and the method type is here we mentioned. If persisted, then patch. Otherwise, post. Okay, and now we already defined the create action here. Okay, so let's add a debugger in the create action. Okay, and now let's go to the browser and refresh your page. Okay, so if we refresh the page, and now you can see that we are getting this error, notification settings. Okay, sorry. So first go to the form and see what we did wrong here. Notification settings path, sorry. Now go to the browser and refresh the page. You can see this is working. And if you inspect the element, and if you look at the form action here, you will see notification settings, and it is showing the action is post now. Okay, so now let's make some space onto the terminal where the server is running, so that we can see that whether it is submitting the params or not. Okay, so go to the form now, and let's submit the empty form. Okay, and in the terminal you will see that it is halted the execution here with debugger, but it does not halted here or does not stop. So let's shut down the terminal, sorry, shut down the server and refresh it again and send it again. So let's send it now, and you can see that it halted the execution here. Okay, so we will check the params. So we are getting params like this: on job post, on removal of favorite job, on removal of existing job, and so on. Okay, so what we need to do, that we need to create a params method which to permit these params. Okay, and here you can see that the action is create. Okay, and the parameters are false permitted. So let's go to the controller here, and in the private action what we need to do, it's settings and then params dot permit, and here let's say on job post, and then on removal of favorite job, and then on removal of existing job, on status change on applied job, and then on status change. Okay, so this is our params now. Now you can exit this debugger. Okay, and now we need to implement this method. Okay, so what we will do here, that at the rate setting equal to build notification setting, and then pass these params, setting params. Okay, here, and then if at the rate setting dot save redirect to settings path, which is that redirect it onto the manage notification settings. Okay, otherwise if it is not saved successfully, then render this section, which is manage notification setting and status and processable entity. Okay, now we will try to submit this form by opting some options. Okay, so let's go to the browser, refresh the page, and let's opt for the options like this. Okay, and select this, and now update the settings. Okay, you can see, go to the terminal, and here you can see that the params has been created, and now all these are changed. So on job post is set to 1, that means true. On removal of favorite job, 1, that means true, and so on. Okay, now but if you look at the form, you can see that it is still showing these check boxes unchecked here. Okay, so what we need to do, that we need to make some changes in our form, that here you can see right now what we are doing, form dot checkbox is on set job. Okay, now we need to make one attribute check here. Checked is if it is checked, that means if it is true, then either we will set it true or false. So at the rate setting dot on new job post. Okay, and we can do the same thing for all the attributes. So let's paste it first, and then we will replace the attribute names. Okay, so here you need to change these attributes names. Paste here, and same for the rest of two. To paste it here now. Okay, and if you refresh the page now, you will see all the checkboxes marked as checked here. Okay, now what we need to do, that we need to implement the update action. Okay, and the update action would be like, you can try it by using, let's say, by unchecking some select boxes, and you need to submit the form. Okay, but if you submit the form, you will see that there is no update action. That's why we are getting here, that means update action could not be found for notification settings controller. Okay, and I'm leaving this task up to you. Okay, so you need to implement the update action, and there what you need to do, that you need to find the notification setting for the user. Okay, so implement some update action here, find that notification setting, and you need to update with the options that user modified through the form. Okay, so that's all for this lecture. So what we did here, that we implemented the create action, and the more importantly, we learned this concept that how we can manage dynamic urls into the form. Okay, and what we can use with what we can check with the persistent. Okay, so let me revise that persistent is used just to check whether the object exists in the database or not. Okay, and this setting url or these urls are like for the dynamic url that we used as the variables here. Okay, so whenever you use something which should be executed but should not be displayed on the views, you need to use this kind of syntax. Okay, I mean the rails take without equal to sign, just like we did here. Okay, and same thing we did for the create path. Okay, and then what we did, we permitted the params here. without require any param body name. Okay, we directly permitted the params. And more importantly, we see one more thing, that how we can show the checked attributes into the form. Okay, so I hope you like that and try to implement the update action at your end. Otherwise, we will meet into the next lecture, which is finishing the action implementation. And here you can see that right now these checkboxes are looks like very ordinary checkbox, just like a plain HTML. But we will add bootstrap checkboxes here in the next lecture. Okay, and then we will start testing the mailer functionality after, when based upon the user notification setting. Okay, so that's all for this lecture. Follow this, and we will meet into the next lecture. Till then, tata, goodbye, take care, and stay safe.